How do I start videos? Hey guys, welcome to the Grif and Go podcast. I'm Grif, that's Go, and today we have Bearbis as our guest, and we're going to be talking about the PTR. Of course, we're going to talk about a bunch of other stuff too, but if you are a druid of any sort and you're curious what's going on in the PTR, we will be talking about it, covering all the topics that you care about, hopefully, and the ones you probably don't, because at some point we're going to be talking about hiking trails. I know it. So yeah, guys, welcome to the show. Hey Bearbis, what's up?
Not much. Just trying to enjoy the time that I have off from working as much as I can.
You sounded terminal for a second.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Let's just say I've been putting in like 20 hours overtime every week. So.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm enjoying the time I have left
Yeah,
on vacation.
this is gonna be a great show.
Yeah, right. This is how we find out how Bearbis died. If you guys don't know Bearbis, he mostly streams now, right? You were doing a lot of streaming lately.
No.
You strummed 3 times this week. Yeah, strummed. That's the past tense of streamed.
You're an actual
I streamed 3 times, yes, but I'm trying to stream more often, but
cool.
That's kind of scuffed on some of the days that I'm trying to stream.
That's how it always is. I don't know how people find any time to stream. I personally don't ever get to stream ever. I don't have time because I'm always busy doing stuff. But yeah, how's everything going? I don't want to ask you too much because we're going to go into sections on that, but like have you been enjoying the PTR at all?
I actually had a lot of fun on it. We went and did I only did it once, but we went and did hard heroic modes, and it was really interesting to say the least.
Well, I mean, they're completely, what I think is so cool about this is they're completely unique fights. A lot of them are, but again, we'll get into that when we get into the PTR talk. But first, as we always start out, I kind of just want to talk about what is going on like this week with you guys. So hold on, let me, not that I didn't write my show notes super long time ago. Yeah, so did you guys do any Bearbis? You don't do any videos, right? Did you do any videos?
I did one video, but it was more of a remake of a older video that was really bad as far as like quality and sound. So
okay,
I remade my ZG video and basically saying of how I do it in under 8 minutes, because I'm down to like 7 minutes 30 seconds now for both of the bosses.
Are you cat in the whole time at this point, or are you still bear?
No, I'm still going bear just because it's safe, it's comfortable. I don't really feel like I need to do anything different. I don't have to think about anything. At this point, I did try a little bit of a cat way of doing it last week, but I was just like, it's too complicated. I just want to shut my brain off and just get this done and over with.
Yeah, I feel like that's how I do it all the time.
That's bear just for you in general. Is you shut your brain off, you pressing like 3 to 4 abilities on cooldown. That's it.
Mangle maul. Yeah. And then maybe some lacerates when you're not on berserk mode. I find it like, yeah, like I watch Go do it sometimes as a boomy, and he's like chaos screaming to the whole thing. Yep. And I legit like zone out when I do it. I'm just like, whatever. Oh, I got feared. Cool. Oh, I pulled 40 extra mobs. I don't care. I'm not dying. I'm not dying. You know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah.
Compared to Go's like, oh man, oh no,
Dude, the phase 1 of the tiger is pretty rough, man. For
really?
Me. Oh yeah.
Really?
Because there's silences. There's kicks. Like I can't cast a heal if the 2 ads are on me. Like,
I actually forgot that there are silences until you just said that, because it doesn't affect us in any way. But yeah.
But Raptor's kind of chill now.
Mm-hmm. Do you still drop the Raptor?
I haven't been now. Yeah. So I've just been like burning down the Raptor and then kiting the boss while he's in Berserk and waiting for Berserk to fall off. And then after Berserk's gone, it's cake. So
yeah, we face tank the whole thing. It doesn't matter. But cool. What about you, Go? I know you had a video this week. Do you want to talk about it?
I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. Yeah. So like one big thing with that video is it's assuming that we're going to be getting some value out of emblems from the new Heroic Plus. Whether we're going to get 5 a day for like the daily like we did in phase 2, or even if it's dropped down to like 3 or something.
Or 2.
Oh, yeah, or even just 2. As long as we're getting some emblems from there, then it should only take like 2 weeks to get 2-piece tier 9, like the 245 eye level, if I'm only getting like the two cheapest pieces, sorry, which was what, gloves and shoulders.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
trinket. Trinket's big for pharaohs, so
the idol.
Idol.
yeah. Sorry, idol. I said trinket. I meant idol. Yeah.
So it's like 115 total emblems for the idol and the 2-piece. So it just depends on how they handle emblems, how quick we can get it.
I actually didn't put it in our notes, but let's definitely talk about Heroic Plus Plus, because I definitely think there's a discussion to be had on whether world tours are going to be a thing. Mm-hmm. I do not want to world tour these. I don't know if you guys have done any of them. They're the exact same except less fun. Like, I think that's the best way to describe it. Just because like it's more tedious and you got to take your time. But yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the PTR stuff. Just really quick to get through this. I made a video. It's about the PTR, so I'm not going to spoil it too much. But I talk about the nerf that pharaohs get. And for everyone that's about to type in the comments, it's not a nerf, or it's barely a nerf, or whatever. I know, but it's still a nerf. It's technically a loss of DPS. That's a nerf. You can spin it any way you want. But yeah, so I made that video, and then I believe we both had a poll. Bearbase, I did not check to see if you had a poll.
No, I haven't had polls.
Okay,
yet.
good. Not good, like not good. Like, I mean, have a poll.
Here's a way to plug Bearbase. I think you need to get like 1,000 subscribers in order to be able to like do polls.
Oh,
so
you have to have 1,000 subscribers first.
If Bearbase gets that 1K subscriber goal, then
let's hold on, let me put youtube.com/@Bearbase in the chat. There you go. Go ahead and sub to him so he can do polls, because they are honestly the most fun aspect of YouTube, in my opinion. And I clicked away from you guys, and I apologize. There, man, that window is such a pain. I put it over there. Okay, so anyway, so I've got the poll up on the screen. The poll you have is: have you done Trial of the Grand Crusader on the PTR this weekend, or have plans to before PTR? I only did 25 man. I don't think our guild even ran. I actually think some people ran 10. But it looks like a lot of people did not bother. In fact, number one is we're not hopping. I'm actually not. I think this is the phase where nobody cares. Yeah, I just don't. I don't think anybody cares about TOGC, which I was gonna say is too bad, but honestly, it checks out. Like, it's a small raid. You'll figure it out. The only, and I don't want to get into it yet, but like, there's only one big obstacle that people are struggling with. We'll definitely talk about. But once we surpass that, once our healers figure out the best way to handle that, it'll be good to go. Man. Okay.
I can hear the subscribers coming in now.
Ding 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 ding.
Oh, nice. Yeah, please subscribe to Bearbase. He's if you guys don't know who Bearbase is, in case you're like maybe you're not on YouTube all the time, if you're ever in my Discord, he's the guy answering all the questions I should be answering, but he's doing it for me and doing it probably better job than I ever would. So if you're wondering who it is, that's who he is. He's the guy that answers all those good questions. So make sure to sub to him so you don't have to wait for him to answer them in Disc. You can get it directly from him on YouTube. Yeah. I think actually I was reading through the comments. Healers struggle with the noob on 25. I agree that I think this is the big headache that people are going to see. I think healers actually have the hardest time in phase 3. A lot of healing intensive moments, especially if you're doing the stack strat, but I don't want to get into that. On the twins, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we'll get into that. So I did have one poll as well. Again, mine are all about the feral nerf. Feral nerfs on the PTR. What do you think? Most people are actually fine with this, which I kind of expected. Yes, 37% said we don't need a nerf, and I think everyone, is kind of like, we don't need it, but we kind of needed it, just to get everyone off our backs. And then, yeah, a lot of comments. Some of them got a little salty, so I won't go too deep into it. But most of the people were like, venting about either other things or giving their opinion, which I appreciate. But yeah.
Why don't they nerf Warlock? That's a great comment.
Yeah, did you see that one? Why don't they nerf Warlock? Happy I'm swapping to Lock, to be honest. Nerf is not too bad for monocast. Basically replace Cliff of Rip. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The one that I don't want to click is right here. It gets a little, they start calling each other names and stuff, but it's if you're, if you like toxicity, I don't know if that's the right word. You could read this one. Yeah, anyway.
Drama.
Yeah.
I always have to read it in that voice too. Omen isn't bugged. LOL.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It just procced off certain spells. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's exactly how I hear it when I read it, and so that totally checks out. Let me move this down here. Sorry if their screens are blank. I'm fixing something. There we go. Okay, next thing on our, I'm honestly trying to get to the fun stuff. That's why I'm burning through these guys. I hope that's okay.
Through it, man. Yeah.
Next up, I know because there's so much. Yep, I did that one. Okay, what do we think? Okay, so let's talk about live. No PTR talk, guys. What do we do on live this week? You guys do anything?
Yeah, go ahead, Bearbus.
I've been doing, GKPs because I've been kind of stuck on my Holy Pally for the past couple weeks in my main raid. Feeling like absolutely crap playing the Holy Pally out of practice.
Pushing that 2 buttons.
It's more than 2 buttons.
I mean, you guys have the cooldowns. Man, my hair looks so weird today.
Yeah, we have the cooldowns. I mean, you still have to judge occasionally, just for like once a minute for your extra haste. There's other things to do, but like I'm so far under geared on that tune that I just feel like I'm not helping.
Are you asking for innervates?
Yes, yes, from the Boomkin because we don't have a feral now.
let me ask you guys. With the 10 loot changing, do you guys feel less people wanting to do 10-man content right now?
Oh, currently?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Our 10-man groups have started to get harder and harder to form because I think a lot of people are like, oh, we're getting it all for free, kind of, in a couple weeks, and it's guaranteed in a couple weeks.
I still want to do it. Like
I do too.
So,
I'm going, but yeah.
I mean, a lot of people will, but there are some people that are just like, I'd rather go for the guaranteed loot. And I did the math. For most of the items, it's only going to take you like 2 days of doing the heroic world tours.
Yeah, but no one's doing the world tour. Like, you're talking 13, 14 hours. I don't want to do that.
It's not gonna. It's
well,
not.
no, that's not true.
Take like
3. Okay, let me
3
back
to 4.
up.
3 to 4.
Let me back up. I actually want to discuss this with you guys. I don't know if now is the time to discuss it, but when we used to do world tours, like the first time, we cleared everything because we were going for loot for everything. But when they switched to the alpha, everyone started doing the absolute bare minimum, which is usually just the daily, and you skipped every boss you could to the last boss to get the loot as fast as possible. So with world tours being what they are, is it only the final boss that drops the thing? Because if that's the case, you're going to see the exact same thing. And those world tours, instead of taking 12 to 13 hours, you're right, could be done in like 3 hours. Because like Dractharon Keep is literally the final boss only. Man, you could skip one boss in Nexus. You can't
Halls
skip
of Stone, you
can't skip
two.
any. Yeah, Halls of Stone. Oculus, you can't skip any. Halls of Lightning, you can't skip any. There are some you can't skip, but like Gundrak, you can't skip any. UK, you can skip
Gundrak,
all
you can
of
skip
them?
the one if you want to be technical. The little dude in the little cave.
Yeah, but nobody killed him anyway. So yeah, so you can skip that one. Actually, and then what do I? Oh, and then UP, you can skip 1.
2 bosses.
2 bosses? Oh yeah. I always forget the one right before what's his name? Sketty or whatever, because he doesn't even count. Like it doesn't count. It's like the orb one, then you gotta kill one guy. It just dies so quickly and you go right into another boss. But yeah. You have to kill just Skaddy and final boss. I think it's his name, Skaddy, right? Because that's like his the title.
We were talking Pinnacle, right?
Yeah. Skaddy. Because there's an achievement called like Lottie Dottie, we likes to Scotty or something like that. Oh, maybe it's Scotty.
Yeah, so you have to kill Scotty. You can skip the first 2. So
yeah.
So
I think that will shave. And the only ones I forgot were the spider or whatever you call it, like Azul Narab in Old Kingdom. Azul Narab, you can skip. Azul Narab, you can skip the first one. No, sorry, you can skip the second one. You can skip the second one.
You can skip the second one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. For some reason I was thinking he was the first one, but I forgot there's a guy up top. And then in Old Kingdom you could skip everything but one boss. Or you have to kill one boss to get to the final boss, and that's the prince. But that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're right. Maybe people will be doing those world tours more frequently than I first anticipated. Because like again, like when we did world tours, it was 13 hours to clear, every heroic beginning to end.
Yeah, and I did the world tours when the alpha came out, just because it was
We did too.
trying to get the 200 loot, but we were doing a bunch of the skips, and it only took us like 2.5, 3 hours. But with trial added, trial you have to go through every RP every single time.
Oh my god.
So
if you guys, okay, let's not get to the PTR too far, but like, I really want to talk about that because I've done that a couple times.
I'm just talking about,
I know.
just the heroics, but.
No, I know. That's what I was saying though. Like, man, because I could vent about that. It's so dumb. I get it, but it's dumb. Grats on Nebula for sure. I actually got the I kind of talking about what we did this week. I got the what do you call it this week? Oh my god, the ring from 10 Man Elgalon, something lights
Band of Lights.
Band of Lights. I got that, which it's not a huge upgrade. I had Lufu of the Agile already, which is pretty good. It's just a slight upgrade. And still haven't seen DM. So
oh, you haven't? Because
I've never seen Band of Lights. So
yeah, that's the first time I've seen it. And there was someone else there, I think, that rolled on it, and I just actually won. And I never win anything, so I was pretty excited. Yeah.
I got a feral staff last night because nobody wanted it. So I was
which feral staff? Dreambinder?
Yeah.
So
I've got a Dreambinder.
I want to be clear. I don't run my raid until tomorrow, so I might still get it this week. But no, I haven't seen it.
I've got it now.
If
you have any questions,
main feral.
Yeah, just let me know if you need me to test anything on it. I have no
lucky loot drops.
I can put an enchant on it.
Is that the only
fiery proc omen?
Is that the only thing you got? Go.
I got the Nebula Band too that we were talking about in the chat. So that's the only loot that I got this week. Nebula Band on the main, and then Dreambinder as a lull.
So did any of you guys try the new Vesic strat? If you guys didn't hear, there's a new Vesic strat that it's such a broken version of it that they've actually removed Vesics from the All-Stars list for your parses. So it no longer counts.
They really did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really did because of the strat.
Yeah, because the strat broke it. It made it. If they're not going to fix the strat, then yeah, they're going to do that thing.
You could basically get Vesex from 100 to 5% in a minute.
That's broken DPS at that point. Yeah,
because but everybody can do it.
And if you were a melee, you're finally parsing. So finally competing. Yeah, maybe competing is a better word.
Well, except for feral druids, we kind of got fucked on that fight. But...
whatever. So none of you guys tried it? We haven't tried it either. I was just curious.
Vesex is gone, dude.
Hunter's chilling out in no man's land. Oh, Justin, crazy. Did you get the good shoulders? Intruder? For 5 seconds. We debated it for 5 seconds. Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's where we were at.
We didn't try that strat for Vesex, but the raid lead tried to just drop like a strategy change 5 seconds before pool. He was like, the ranged group, you're going to all stand in the same spot, wait for the first shadow crash, move out, don't go back into the first pool. You're going to wait for the second shadow crash to then move into the first pool all together. And then every single shadow crash, you're moving back and forth in one big group. And I'm like, dude, that's way too much movement. And luckily, I was like, before the pool, I was like, yo, I hope we screw this up terribly so we never have to actually do this again. And it worked beautifully. Nobody handled it right. And 30 seconds into the fight, he was like, obviously, you guys are just doing the same strat that we've always been doing. So just keep doing that. And I was like, yes.
Are you guys doing the XT skip, the trash skip for XT? Yeah,
we just go in straight from Razor Scale and pull XT.
We don't do that yet. I think we're supposed to start this week. We were gonna do it last week, but everyone's like, what's the difference? And he was like, you know what? I don't want to just throw this on you last minute. I'll put up a video and then we'll try it next week. But that is a good 2-minute shave right there, 2-3 minute shave. And especially if your guild's planning on running TOGC and Ulduar in the same night, you want to try to make your Ulduar runs as fast as possible. So any place you can shave. I think that the agreement was, I don't know if this is official yet, they might start skipping Razor Scale and Ignis permanently. Now you're thinking like, oh, what's the big deal? Well, they can drop shards, so it might hurt us a little, but like, yeah. If you guys don't know what the trash skip is, because it looks like some people are unsure, when you walk into XT's room, there's trash on the left and trash on the right. You could just skip it. You could just go straight to XT when he's in the middle, and then you just have to drop your stuff on the left and the right. Like you have to what's the word I'm looking for? Reorient yourself so that you don't ever pull the trash. Because if you try to run out to drop a I don't know what they're called, gravity bomb or whatever, and you get too close to the trash and you pull it, it's a guaranteed wipe, just guaranteed. So a lot of people are orient. I got it, Timothy, thanks. So a lot of people are doing that just to shave a little bit of time, because everyone's trying to figure out a way to get Ulduar and TOGC runs in the same night, which I think is kind of like cool, because that's what I want to do. I want to get it all done, and that way I don't have to be like, oh, do we have to get back on Thursday or Wednesday or Sunday or whatever? Just let's clear it out. But obviously the first couple weeks are going to be progression, so we're going to have to do something like that anyway. But those are the only two strats I know. Do you guys know any new strats that are sneaking up? They're coming from everywhere, so.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Let me look at the bosses here. We still do the REI like reset. I don't.
Do you guys find that helpful? No, we don't. I've never done that. Is that a game changer? What's the big deal? Is that just parsing?
It just basically allows you to cleave a lot faster, but it's kind of sketchy when people get bounced if they're not standing in the group.
Yeah, it's there's risk for like high risk, high reward, because there's no downtime. Like usually it's like a totem pool, and there's like 3 or 4 seconds of like run time for the boss to get around the corner. But this way, you're all stood there, and as soon as she spawns in, everybody can just immediately open DPS.
Oh, okay, cool.
Forum, we've kind of been doing a little different thing. At least me personally, the raid leader hasn't like told everybody in the raid to do it, but it's just like the range can stand pretty close to melee and still be out of the 10-yard range and avoid the blizzard. So, like, you never have to move for Blizzard. You only have to move for the lightning charge, and that's huge.
Have you guys done the Algalon reset strat?
Yeah, just to start, right?
Yeah, it's so that skip the RP in the start.
Do you do like a hunter pull?
Yeah, you can have a hunter sit back and just use their pet to pull, and it'll automatically reset because the pet will just disappear once they get too far away.
Oh.
There's also the Hunter Kolagarn reset that we've done a couple of times.
What's the point of resetting Kolagarn?
Yeah, I haven't heard
that one.
You
can get into your place, so you can get into your
everybody
spot.
can get into their place, because like Ferals, we're already in our place. Who cares?
I mean, the warriors are still charging off.
Yeah, it makes.
I think we had
makes
Hunter
the fight like 15 to 20 seconds faster if you do it properly, but it makes the whole the raid length in the hole a little bit longer because it takes time for everybody to get into position.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, we've never done that. I creep in like a creep, and I just wait for everyone else to. I think the scariest part of Kolagarn for a feral is worrying that when you finally like come out of stealth, that you're not the only one in melee range. You know, like the tanks. Like if you got a paladin tanking, you got to wait for that shield to hit, but also him to get close enough for it to matter. And then if you have a warrior or a DK, same thing. They've got to be there. And like sometimes you're like they're close, and you pop out and you just crack. It's the greatest thing ever.
We've also done the Memoron trash skip more and more. And that, we have our pally. Like I guess when we're resetting Ariaya. Our pally is going off. I think that's when they do it.
The Mimi skip. Usually do it.
They go do the.
Usually do it for Freya trash. We do it during Freya trash. But yeah, the Mimi skip. Yeah, we've been doing it for months. It's huge time saver. If you guys don't know, there's not almost every class. There's a lot of classes that can achieve it. There's mages can do it, hunters can do it, paladins can do it, ferals can do it, rogues can do it definitely. So there's a lot of classes. If you have interest in looking into skip, I've never made a skip video because I tried it once and screwed up and got stunned and killed right at the end. I was on the last pack and I wanted to make a video, but it's honestly like if you don't do it well, it's a waste of your guild's time to just keep screwing it up. So the hunter just took over and did it really quick. But yeah. Go. Timothy wants to know if you can elaborate on the skipping of the blizzard. So if you want to go ahead.
I think our melee stacks in 3 stacks. Maybe it's even 4, but like they're all the way in the center of the room. So it's like say there's like the end of my fingertips are like the 4 melee stacks. You would, as a range, would just stand like at a point around in between the melee groups, and you can get in tight enough to where the blizzard won't hit you. But yeah, just make sure your rangefinder's up there for 10 yards or whatever, and you have nobody except for maybe one person that's standing on top of you, and you're good.
That's what we do. We everyone, nobody moves, everyone pumps, and everyone's out of blizzard and just go. And the fight's over before it even begins.
Yeah. I like it. Because I hated running for blizzard.
Do you guys think when Ulduar becomes the non-primary raid, you'll still get new strats? Because like we're like 15, 16 weeks in, and there's still these new strats keep trickling out. And I'm just like, man, when's it gonna end? Like, I'm not complaining. I'm just shocked that like every week they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna try this new thing. Where I mean, like, look at the Vestix thing. That's deep cuts at 16 weeks in. They're like, let's try this new thing.
I want to buy a Memoron mechanic to avoid anything we can in there. We still have people dying to mines. We still have people dying to the water bomb explosions.
We had the worst 10-man Memoron this week. Oh my god, it was so painful. I don't want to get into it anyway, but I do want to point out on our 10-man, I got to tank Algalon for my first time. We've never needed me to, but we were short a tank, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it. Honestly, I think it's one of the cooler fights to off tank, and here's why. It is the only fight I know of where I have to be conservative and very, what's the right word? I think maybe conservative is probably the best word. You have to be very conservative with your cooldowns, but you also have to use them. Like, it's not like most, I mean, especially as a bear, you just like, yeah, I got it. No, like when I pull, I always do, I have the dodge trinket, so I'll pop dodge trinket, and because I've got survival instincts lasting like 40 seconds or whatever, I'll pop that, and then I'll have it for the big bang, come back out, bark skin, taunt. Like, it's so much more fun than just like taunt. All right, you can taunt back now, which is mostly what off tanking has been for the last 3 expansions, if you're the off tank. But yeah. The Iron Council RNG is still rage inducing. We don't have problems with the Iron Council ever.
We have a little
the
bit
RNG. The RNG
timing
sucks, but like,
yeah,
I don't think
sometimes
it's never caused any wipes or anything for us that I can think of. Like, we accidentally killed the guy too soon once or twice, and we just had to like, okay, well, here it goes, kind of thing. But honestly, I think the biggest frustrating thing for Iron Council is garbage tanks. I'm gonna say it. Tanks that cannot position next to that stupid blue circle.
Oh gosh,
it's not just positioning. It's also like if you've got a paladin tank that doesn't just want to cleanse themselves properly.
There you go. How dare you ask me to cleanse? How dare you? But yeah, our tank keeping steel in the rune. Yeah, like I have a weak aura that says if Steelbreaker's in the circle, and when it goes away, I'm like, okay, cool, stop. And you can angle him sideways so you can keep him close to the rune but pull him out more easily. At least that's what I've always done. Because I have tanked that one a couple times. But honestly, like as a feral, it's the most frustrating thing when, I mean, probably for all melee, but mostly for feral, because you have to also be behind him to get into like that right position. I think that's the biggest thing for me for Iron Council.
I got 12 frags now on the alt boomy for Valnir.
But your alt has a closer chance of getting Valnir than your main?
It's not a closer chance. It's getting it.
Well, in like
the
3
main
months.
Probably won't, yeah. Yeah, at this rate, I think this is 4 or 5 lockouts, and I've only got 12 total. So it's a slow grind. But we only got 10,500 payout. It was pretty weak loot. There was like a couple, I think maybe 2 of the 252 pieces from the hard modes like just went to the like they got DE'd. Like nobody wanted them, or like somebody like it went through the timer and somebody was like, "Oh, I'll pay the 5K min bid for it as like an off spec," and it just like, damn.
That sucks.
But yeah. So like that was our lower payout for the last like month and a half, but still 10.5K gold. And then I'm up to 5166 gear score on the main, which is 237 eye level, and I feel like I'm probably below you guys. How's Feral gear score looking?
My gear score is garbage. I
Mine
think Bearbiss has like
is-
Biss. It's in his name.
I'm 3 items off of Biss, okay? 3 items.
I could probably name them. You don't have the
The only
chest.
2 items that are dragging me down are shoulder and
Shoulder and what?
shoulder, chest, and ring.
Okay, yeah.
Are the 3 items I need.
I'm assuming. Do you have a loop of the agile already?
No.
Oh, really? What are you rocking for your second ring?
Double quest item rings.
Oh, those are pretty good though. I guess the point I was trying to make is like, yes, the ring of lights or whatever it's called is the upgrade, but it's minor. The chest is huge, so but you do have the legs already, and most ferals don't even have those legs. So like you're kind of in a good place. I have 7 pieces of the 15 I still need. So yeah.
Jeez. Yeah,
I mean,
I'll be throwing out that Feral Biss video, just going over everything, and legs will still be there. Even according to Druid Discord, they're doing the Sims as we speak right now, and still have legs of Cunning Deception in there.
Yeah.
What boss drops legs and which drops chest?
Chest is off of Thorum, legs is off of Yogg.
There you go.
Okay, because Table got the legs last night, but I think the chest dropped 2, and he passed the chest to a rogue.
Really? The gladiator chest? Ooh.
So
I think that's a good choice. I think that's a good choice.
I've passed on that chest 4 times now, just because, like, in order for me to actually make it work, I have to have the shoulder pads of the intruder.
Maybe that's what he's waiting on.
Yeah, because you have to have the tier. That's the hardest thing is I have 2 pieces that are slight upgrades that I can't wear because it's not worth me breaking my 4-piece set until I get the right pieces to replace them. And I can't do that because it's a whole thing. It sucks, but at the same time, like we're running to the end, so if you don't have those pieces yet, kind of just like put it in your mind, like, okay, well, phase 3 is coming in 2 weeks, so maybe 3
Would
weeks.
it still feel good to get those pieces from 10 man if they drop?
I mean, you don't have to farm them.
No,
I still need
the 10-man hard mode loot is just going to a vendor, but it's staying on the bosses. The 25-man one still staying on 25.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want 25-man hard mode like Dreambinder, you still have to run 25-man hard mode. I think it's cool because like Yogg 0, I still haven't gotten that belt yet. And I've already kind of just resigned myself to buying it. That's like it's DM and belt are my first 2 purchases.
I have 2 belts.
Timothy, the problem with making tier priority is everyone's making tier priority. And if you have to choose between fighting for tier and, I don't know, the cloak, I would sacrifice lower quality tier, like non-heroic for now, and get the other pieces. And then, because tier is always going to be like, I mean, it's going to take forever, but it's always going to be coming out. Those off pieces are going to be really helpful. That's my thought. But the cloak, first and foremost, go for the cloak because it's going to survive all the way to the end of the game or the expansion, depending on how you look at the game.
And this is where I'm going to disagree with you, Grif.
Go.
Yes.
The cloak for next phase from 25-man 0 wipes is only 20 DPS more than the 10-man one.
Okay.
It's not that bad. Yeah, that's not that big of a difference.
That's the case for every piece we have in phase 3, though.
No, it's not, though. The difference between heroic tier and non-heroic tier is 500 DPS.
For the whole set.
And for 4 set.
Right, but it's also 4 weeks of farming that you're going to have to do in order to get the non-heroic set.
So what do you suggest then? Farm for 4 weeks or get all the off pieces?
Off pieces. Get the off pieces.
Yeah. I think take what you can get, but I don't think they're going to prio, because who we group with? Mages, boomies.
They're going to prio DKs.
Priest.
At least. They're probably gonna come out with.
we are bottom of our tier. I'm pretty sure.
No, we're actually above Boomkins.
I meant druids. I meant druids.
Well, yeah. But,
2-piece is good for us. Like two pieces are good for us to
So-
upgrade.
I just sent everybody a little upgrade sheet.
They
Screenshot.
were showing it's like 111 DPS for the helm, and I think 111 for chest. So like 225-ish DPS for those 2 pieces, going from 245 to 252 for Boomy. But man, I don't.
Each piece for us from the non-heroic to the heroic versions are about 125 DPS.
I think the play, in my opinion, is if you're going for BIS, go for the BIS off and take the non-heroic 25. Because chances, the problem is you can't run both anymore. So I guess you're taking the 10 heroic over top. You're going to take the 10-man heroic to get your tier sets, and then you're going to slowly start replacing them with 25-man heroic.
There is no 10-man heroic.
Yeah, there is. There is.
It's 10. Then there's the 245, which comes from the tokens, and then heroic.
I meant, yes, you're right. Sorry, I was talking about the gear runs, not the gear itself. I meant, yeah, but yes, either way. Go for like the what do you want to call these then? 9.25?
So the 10-man tier is just the 9. The 0.5 set is, I guess it'd be
it's the 0.25. Yeah.
And then 0.5 would be the heroic.
Exactly. So okay, so go for the 9 or the 9.25. Either one.
That's why I just do eye level. It's like 245 eye level. Like 232 eye level.
The 2-3 are
oh my god.
The basic tier from 10-man. Or just the ones you can buy with just the emblems, because
the 10
you buy
no
every
trophies
piece with emblems.
Yeah.
No trophies is not a DPS upgrade if you are close to this phase bis.
Mm-hmm.
If you aren't close to this phase bis, it will be an upgrade to start you off, but you're going to be spending 4 weeks in order to get those pieces. Like either way you're looking at it with the 245 or the non-token ones, it's still like 2 to 4 weeks.
I think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be, I don't think we're going to, let me gather my thoughts. If your guild prios you tier, go for it. If they don't, like if you know they're not going to, lean completely the other direction and try to get some off pieces.
I would rather just get the off pieces.
Well,
just get every single off piece that you can get.
Cloak is going to be, in my opinion, Cloak's going to be, or weapon probably is going to be number 1. But you're not competing with anyone. Maybe Hunter.
Nope, not competing with Hunters on that one.
They're not? Okay, good. Nope. So you're gonna get a free weapon, and then Cloak you're gonna be competing with anyone that uses armor pen, which if that's who you're fighting with, fine, and that's where you want to win. Yeah. I want the Cloak. I don't want to have to worry about it going into phase 4. I want to have my Cloak and eat it too.
We've been over this a little bit of what cloaks are good for phase 4, but like if you have to, I wouldn't take the Cloak. I'd get the 10-man version. I would get all of the rings, and I would fight tooth and nail for the trinket, because that trinket is also really good too. I would suck it up on the Cloak and go after the trinket.
Wait, you're talking about Death's Verdict? Is that the one? Is that the one? There's 2 of them. There's 2 death ones.
Death's Verdict, whatever the Alliance version.
Will of the Dead. I don't know what they're called.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. How do I not have it pulled up when I'm staring at it all day long? Yeah, so like in phase
Death's Choice and Death's Verdict.
In phase 4, what trinkets are we rocking? Because I thought we drop Death's Verdict and get Deathbringer's Will.
We drop Runestone and get Deathbringer's Will.
What about Whispering Fanged Skull? From Lady Death Whisper?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No.
I think either way, I think Death's, I already forgot it. I think the phase 3 one's going to hold up long enough that it's worth getting. It's very similar to Runestone. Like you get it now and you're going to hold on to it all the way through the next phase. And you might replace it at the end, but you're still going to wear it. DBW and Comet will be great in ICC or
World
Whispering
first.
Fang Skull. No,
I was like,
Whispering
first,
Fang Skull. Yeah, yeah. Deathbringers will
Whispering
Comet
Fang Skull is a good trinket.
for sure. Full stop.
I think it's gonna outperform. I don't think it's gonna outperform Death's Choice, Death's Verdict.
How is it not show? Oh, I have phase 4 set up. I'm not gonna. Okay, we're not going through right now. I was like, oh, hold on, let me start simming. Okay. Yes. Regardless, I definitely think off pieces are the play. But if you can get your hands on tier, take tier, because it's gonna be great. But then you might have to sacrifice the cloak, and I personally don't want to. But Barabbas says it's fine. Take the 10-man.
Let's do a little what if, or I don't even.
We haven't even officially talked about the PTR. We're so off the rails right now.
I guess you could say this was PTR because it's talk. But
all right, guys, we're talking about PTR now. Starting now, go.
If say week 3 is like 14 weeks, like 3.5 months ish. How many?
You mean
weeks?
phase 3 is 14 weeks?
Phase
14
3,
months.
Yeah.
Weeks.
Not
14
months,
weeks.
14 weeks.
Say it's 14. Like you have 14 lockouts for phase 3. How many of those lockouts do you think are going to be 50 attempts like left, and you get cloaks? Because for
5 to 7.
For my guild, I'd say like 3 or 4. I'm not trying to like shit on my guild, but
no, that's reality, and it's gonna. Everyone knows what the brick wall is, and it's a noob. I think, yeah, you're gonna hope for 5.
Like, yeah. So do you want to try to like fight for prio for like a cloak that your guild might not even see?
Here's the other thing though. Like, is your guild? Are you running 225s in your guild? Or are you running? Okay, so here's what you might see. The strongest thing to do is if you have 2 25-mans, as soon as somebody gets cloak, you move them to the garbage or the weaker raid. Because, fuck them. They've got their cloak. You can't risk bringing someone and then not and like having to secondary give the cloak, or unless they're really good and they're like necessary to the raid, then yeah, bring them. But like you want to bring as many people as you can to cycle in to get the cloak as fast as possible. And you also want to keep your guild, your one raid, as strong as possible. So if you start giving up all the people that have cloak and they're your best players, you got to be careful. But like running splits and stuff with like more of a strategy of one guaranteeing to get the 50 is going to be the play for a lot of these guilds, because they want to get as many cloaks as possible. But the reality is, if you're 125 man, you're only going to see them towards the end, once everyone's tight geared and understands the noob. And the worst part is, it's going to come to the class that nobody thinks about until we screw up, and that's the healing class. There's so much pressure on the healers on a noob, and you could argue twins if you do the weird strat, that you're gonna see some rage quits over, the healers not being able to handle it over and over and over again. Do I have it? I don't think I can pull it up. It's I don't know, what do you call it? The 50-50 cloak? What do you call it? Sylvanas
Yeah.
Cunning or Varisa's Dexterity. Let me see if I can just drag it over here. So it's these right here. I don't know if you can see so there's one for Horde, one for Alliance. You only get it if you do not a perfect run. If you have 0 wipes on TOGC Heroic. There we go. Hope that's,
which is going to be, I think it's going to be rough for.
It's a 272 cloak. People. Yeah, it's nuts. Oh, thank you. I just saw you type that go. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It's like, it's called a tribute to something is the achievement.
There is a title. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Might be Insanity.
Oh, let me switch this.
Insanity.
Tribute to Insanity, 0 deaths.
That's 0 death. Okay. We got the 10
0 deaths.
Tribute to Insanity is in the title. It's insane.
Too.
But yeah. Okay, but so now that we're dipping into PTR, I want to go full-fledged, explain everything in the PTR, or at least just broad strokes, especially for the Druid community. PTR is now out. It's been out since Thursday of last week. A lot of us hopped on. It was really weird notice that they didn't give us any heads up for this, because like me, I already had plans and I was only able to raid on Sunday, which actually worked out really well because my guild practices to practice to practice, and then I was
You're
like,
in there Thursday,
hey
Friday,
guys,
Saturday. You hop in for Sunday.
Go ahead and carry me. But yeah, so the PTR is up, and with the PTR, one of the biggest announcements for Druids is the feral nerf. Let me see if I can pull it up.
The feral adjustment.
Yeah, let's call it the feral adjustment. I don't think
we're
it's
getting
even
rid
on this
of
page.
the
So
nerf word.
I'm just gonna explain it. We got feral fairy fire to proc omen to clarity 100% of the time. However, what they changed it to is, yes, you still get that, but you have to glyph it, forcing you to sacrifice one of your glyphs. We did a bunch of sims. I know Table Slam did, I know Bearbus did, and I know I did. And the conclusion we all came to, correct me if I'm wrong at this point, Bearbus, is you drop your rip glyph because it is the smallest. Now, some people are simming it where it's only 100 DPS loss. It's likely because their gear is low. This thing does scale though. So as you get better and better gear, the DPS loss from now until to the switch is going to have a greater impact. And I'm not talking greater like thousands. I'm talking greater like 300 to 400, which is still a DPS loss. And you're going to see it is going to probably move you a little bit in the ICC world, but it's not going to drop you to the bottom. It's just going to keep you probably right around where we are, which is around 5th or 6th. Bearbus, what'd I miss?
It's about a 2% DPS loss overall.
There you go. Yeah, no, and here's the thing, Conan, I want to point this out. Ferals, for the most part, of all the ferals I've talked to, they're fine with this. They're not super mad. They're just like, okay, it is what it is. It's better than the naturalist thing they tried to get through. It is. It's fine. We're done. Some people are a little upset that this does affect our rotation, but at the same time, so did the feral fairy fire proc. So, take the good with the bad.
It really doesn't change the rotation that much, though.
It's just when you do your ferocious bite. When you do your ferocious bite. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, from Ryan, will we ferocious bite less? Technically, no. I've done the sims and it still has it to just about the same amount of ferocious bites as it was before.
I lose about one. My personal experience was I lost about 1 ferocious bite per minute, which isn't a ton when I was doing like 4 or 5. But you don't notice it because your rotation still feels really, in my experience, it felt really smooth anyway. So like the fact that you're not able to fit that ferocious bite in right there, but you're going to get it in the next one, it's whatever. In my opinion, it doesn't feel bad.
Losing one ferocious bite isn't that big of a deal, but I did point out to somebody this past week when I was streaming that they did too many ferocious bites. So you may kind of want to watch yourself on your ferocious bites because it can hinder your DPS.
That would be me. I'd be ferocious biting because it's the highest damage dealing ability, right? Like
everybody wants to see those biggest numbers.
That would be me. I'd be ferocious biting
Honestly,
as soon as I could.
Justin, that's really interesting. I didn't look into that. The level requirement for that glyph is 75. Is that true? That does suck. That sucks.
Currently, it is a level 75 glyph, but I think that
level 20
Blizzard is still looking into it, and a lot of us ferals have said something to them about that on the PTR.
For sure.
So we might get it a lot lower than that.
That'd be a good poll for next
40,
week. Griff.
That is a really good poll because and here's something I want to point out, guys. If you haven't noticed, Blizzard is listening. Like, they may not get it right every time, but like the nerf didn't come out, or the buff didn't come out of nowhere. The nerf didn't come out of nowhere. I definitely think Blizzard's paying attention. If I don't understand the point of putting the glyph that high up, because it would be really helpful for leveling, especially in those
to get used to it. Yeah.
It's not a huge deal for leveling
because you're stop go.
It's more just getting used to it.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Ryan, you're losing it because you have to waste your combo points on rip, essentially, as opposed to doing something else with it. You're not losing rip damage, you're just having to use combo points to reapply rip, and that is the loss. That's it. That's why it's so minor.
It's a 4-second loss. You're losing 4 seconds on rip.
Kind of changes in a short amount of time was just and I think based on that last post they put out, I think they've calmed down. But either way, I definitely think this change isn't horrible. I think it's going to get all the warriors off our back. I think it'll get a lot of classes to just leave us alone and focus on, let's talk about ret paladins and how they need to be nerfed or buffed again. I don't know.
I got a conspiracy theory here. It just popped in.
Mm-hmm.
So they said when they released the whole PTR schedule that they had to like move everything up a week. I wonder if they had to like move up the feral change. Like they were testing stuff with the feral change, and then they're like, "Yo, we need to have this out right now instead of next week." So then they were like, "All right, well, this is what we have. Let's just push it out."
I don't
Because
know.
they let
We
it sit
saw
for a
this one
week, and then
guy's
they
video,
changed.
and this is the change that he introduced. And so,
Yeah.
let's just do that real quick and see how well this goes. Get a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, what if there was like no plan
Shameless
and they're
plug
just
right
like,
there.
Grif made a video. Let's just do that thing. Okay, here's the thing.
Let's watch these videos.
Here's the thing,
watch
though.
these videos.
The only part, and if you guys watch the video, I talked about this exact change. I made a video about this exact change prior to the PTR, and I said they should do this. The only part I cared about was the name of the glyph, and it's the only thing they didn't take from the video. So I'm a little irritated because like I thought it was such a good name, Glyph of Feral Fire. Like it just sounds cool, and they just whatever.
With an omen of clarity.
I know.
It doesn't get much into their RP of the whole thing.
Honestly, Erwin, that's a good question. I don't know many people that are excited to go back to bear weaving, so I don't know a lot of people that are simming it either. But yeah,
It's a little bit less than Monocat with the glyph. I think if I remember correctly, when we were doing the Sims for it, it was about 1,000 DPS difference, and this is without the glyph.
yeah. I would love to see some bear weavers pop back up into like the top 10 or whatever. But at the same time, I really am happy that it's not required. And you have Common Rip and Rake are already up, and you're close to full energy. What is the most optimal thing to do? Wait until you're
check your survival, your Savage Roar time. Check how much time you have on Rip before you do anything else. If you've got like 5 to 10 seconds on all that, then you bite.
Yeah, but see, there's more to it. Like, what if you also have Tiger's Fury coming up? Then it's you. Like, I've done a Rip with, I think I had 4 seconds left. Had Feral Fairy Fire ready to go, and Tiger's Fury. So I Ferocious Spit into a Tiger's Fury into a Feral Fairy Fire and had 5 points back in the 4 seconds. And I was like, oh my god!
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't expect it.
You kind of have to have the crit modifier to get that high, but if you have like 60 to 65% crit, so yeah, probably.
And it's only going up, guys. Our crit is just climbing and climbing. Especially next phase, I think we're hitting the 71% cap. That'll be fun. And then now
71, 72 in some of the Sims that I've seen.
70. I did it up to 73, and I'm still performing really well. I mean, because you still can crit. You can increase your crit. It just doesn't have as much value as it would if you went above it.
Agi doesn't have as much value anymore in next phase. And
then we start putting our time into just getting larger and larger attack power. Oh, congratulations. Yep. We hit 100 messages. Thanks everybody for messaging. Really quick before we dive into the next part of this, if you guys haven't, please like and subscribe to my channel, Bearbiss's channel, and of course Go's channel. I am so close to 5,000 subscribers. I'm really excited. I'm like 50 people away. So if you're not subscribed, 50? Yeah, it's so close. I think it's like 49. I don't know. It's close. So if you've got the time, go ahead and like and subscribe. Make sure you hit Bearbiss because he is. Oh, is it? I don't know.
Like 150.
Oh my god, I lost 100 subs in a day, guys. You definitely have to subscribe to my channel.
They're like, oh, he got this change on the PTR for this glyph.
Okay, but let's get back to the serious stuff, I guess. Munching. I know this isn't Druid specific, though Druids are mentioned, even
under
though
the mage category.
Yeah. So, Go. Do you want to explain munching? I know what it is, but like, I'd love to hear a clear definition and how it affects how it affects boomies, because you guys were mentioned in the PTR, if only to be borrowed from.
Yeah. So, there was some WoW head post from like 15 years ago that said that ignite from mages works the exact same way that what's it called? Languish works with boomies, with our tier 2 set bonus, I think, for our tier 10 2-piece. Jeez, too many numbers. But what it is like for mages, if 2 of their spells land at exactly the same time, it will only apply like one of the ignites, something like that. Dude, I can't explain this stuff. There's mages that explain it way better. Criteria does an amazing job on explaining it, but yeah, like it's a DPS loss, and mages came up with like weak auras to delay their spells just long enough so that they weren't ignite munching. Because everything would like some of their DPS would just go away. Yeah, it would just vanish into thin air.
It's your tier 10 4-piece, by the way.
Tier 10 4-piece. Okay, yeah. So like Languish, it's only like 7% of our crit damage like ticks every 2 seconds for the next 4 seconds. So there's 2 ticks, and we can vomit our Languish, and that's a whole nother thing that's hard to explain, dude. Like there's too much math going on here, but like the vomit is you have a 2-second cast with Starfire, and
you did a whole video on it.
Yeah, that 2 seconds is when like the Languish ticks. So like the Languish tick will still go out and increase the damage. Dude, I'm scuffing it. I can't do it anymore.
Nailed it.
There's too much stuff, but they're fixing it.
It's a lot.
They're fixing it.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. They're fixing it on every class that it might be affected by, and they're using boomies as the guide to do it. No, using boomies.
They're doing mages.
No, but they use the tier set to figure out how to do it to the rest of them because it worked properly in your tier set.
Oh, just because like mages have to stand at a certain distance because there's a travel time with their cast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Boomy, our Starfire just hits every 2 seconds if we have the perfect haste amount.
Yeah. Either way, do you guys? This sounds callous. Do you guys care about munching? Like, I think it's great that they fixed a bug. I don't care.
It made it so that like if you wanted to play like high-end mage play, you had to have weak auras, you had to have like all these add-ons just to make sure that your spells were doing the damage that they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So now that they fixed it, it's eliminating like any mage from having to go through all that trouble.
Get CRQ, I think, is the name of the weak aura they had to use. I might be wrong. But yeah, like all it did was I think it handled your pyroblast. And what it would do it would delay it using if I had to guess, they used the spell queue window cooldown thing to modify the timing so that they wouldn't hit at the same time and you'd get credit for both of them. It's having to use a weak aura to modify your spells so they work perfectly. Feral Fairy Fire.
I was about to say,
is a little cheese. No,
aren't we doing that now?
No, not the royal we. Maybe the we of some of the ferals. So just to
by we I mean
you,
us in the Discord.
I don't do it
in your Discord.
Yeah, I don't discourage it, but I don't personally do it. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, there is a weak aura that will prevent you from using bad spells when you already have a Omen of Clarity proc up, so that you don't accidentally reapply Omen of Clarity or use it on something that's garbage. I was worried that it was against the terms of service because it is modifying your control of your spells. However, it hasn't been blocked yet. So if you're interested, check out my Discord and you can start using this. It will slightly increase your DPS. Very slightly. Very slightly.
As long as you're following all of the other rules of being a feral.
And it doesn't have to be like a specific keybind. I can't remember that someone was saying it doesn't work on mouse binds or something like that.
It does not work on mouse binds. I personally tested that. It does not work on mouse binds.
Mm-hmm.
It'll work on keys, but not mouse.
So Boomies could have, like, they were coming up with this set that was getting us to like 30, 40k DPS depending on the fight length. And there was like all this theory crafting going around it. But since the Languish, vomiting, ignite, munching, all that stuff, according to the mages, got pretty much fixed, we don't have to theory craft that stuff anymore. We can put that on the back burner.
Yeah.
which is nice. Yay.
I'm just mad they didn't name the glyph after me. I just want to put okay, but
no.
so we talked about ferals, we talked about munching. Now let's talk about the big stuff of phase 3 or the PTR, however you want to look at it. So there's two big pieces. There is the obvious TOGC stuff. There's also the Titan runed beta.
Yes.
Which one do you guys want to talk about first? Because I think they're both big in their own different ways.
The dungeons first.
Sure.
Let's get it out of the way.
So let me give you a quick synopsis of this. If you guys haven't experienced it, which would be weird if you hadn't, the Titan Rune dungeons are being upgraded. So in the past, we've done Alpha, which added an affix to specific dungeons that made it harder, but you got a bigger reward and you tended to get more emblems. We can't confirm the emblems are going to work the same, so we'll get to that in a sec. But so now they have Titan Runed Beta. I think it's called Titan Rune. I feel like it's wrong. Whatever.
Defense Protocol Beta.
That sounds better. That thing, beta. And essentially it works exactly the same. You go in, you click the beta instead, and it's an even harder version. Now, the reason this is interesting is because it's also dropping these new things called Surreal
Essence.
Thank you. Surreal Essence. What these can do is allow you to buy 10-man heroic, 10-man hard mode gear. And at a pretty reasonable price, if you ask me. So you're going to see a lot of people jumping into these on day 1 of phase 3 to start grabbing as much Surreal Essence as they can, so they can start buying their Dark Matter, their Cinch, their Runestone, the neck, the Nebula Band, a couple rings are on there. So much really good loot.
The wand.
It's literally everybody's just like drooling for this, because anything that you've been struggling just because of bad RNG, you can just buy it for a very like 12, 15.
Depending on the item, I think trinkets are 15.
Weapons are
12.
40. So
weapons are
two-hand weapons. Two-hand weapons are 40.
But like even the one-handed weapons are pretty expensive.
Yeah. But expensive is a relative term, because in theory you can generate 13 of these per day.
12.
12, thank you. Well, no, does that count the new 10-man or 5-man? Okay,
the new one.
So
11
12
without the new one.
So 12 per day, which means you can buy Dark Matter in 1 day, and you're talking like multiple weapons in a week, which is pretty crazy.
I think trinkets are 15. Rings
right,
are
so
12.
that'd be 2 days for
a day and like
I should probably pull
dungeons.
it up. I'm not on the PTR right now, so I can't pull it up. But if you don't know where the vendor is, the Alliance one I know really well. I don't know where the Horde is, so you'll have to chime in. But the Alliance one, when you're walking up the stairs to talk to the emblem vendors, right as you get to the top of the stairs where they're all standing, you make a hard right, and there's a glowing ball, and you talk to that thing, and that's it. It's crazy cheap.
I could look for it.
You haven't looked, Go?
Nah, because all I needed was Nebula Band, and then I got the Nebula Band. So I was like,
He's
well,
like, I
don't care.
I'm above
that. I'm above that. Yeah, but and this is great for like those pieces that you haven't picked up yet. But also think about how great this is for that alt that you're trying to level. That haven't been able to get into 10-mans, or the 10-mans have been getting into, haven't been doing hard modes. Well, now as long as you can get into the beta version of Titan Forge, I forgot, Defense Protocol beta. You can now start gearing in very high quality gear for your alt, which is really big for me because I have an alt feral that is under geared that I'm going to just start running through here all the time. So this is really good for, I think, everybody. Some people might be a little irritated if the maximum experience they've had is 10-man hard mode. They didn't do 25, and now all their gear can be bought. But I think that's just the reality of the game, is you got to allow people to perform in TOGC, and they need some catch-up gear.
I see the orb on the Horde side. So Horde has like the same type of thing. You go up a little ramp into a room. It has all the Emblem of Valor, Emblem of Conquest vendors in there, and it's off to the right. Little animated constellation.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense because of Alduar.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about it. I was like, they just picked some random sprite they already had made. They're like, oh, just use that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so for real. And I obviously I use feral alts, but like any alt class is going to benefit from this greatly. And the cool thing is this is definitely going to spur a lot of people running those betas, both the high end raiders and the the average pug, which is probably going to create a little bit of irritation, but at the same time it's going to allow a lot of people to get carried. So
dude, Asuga for 30 of them. Like, I'm sure even as feral, you guys have heard of Asuga.
Yep.
Like, that's insane main hand for casters and healers too.
So someone asked about
they can actually use a mace.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So Dabius
shaman druid, yeah.
Dabius asked about Banner of Victory, which you get from Argent Confessor Palatrus, which is in the 5-man heroic. Well, I mean, I guess it's in both, but this is probably coming from the heroic. TOGC 5-man. TOC 5-man, whatever. The 5-man. I don't think it's nothing. I mean, it has armor pen on a trinket, which is great, but it's not a lot of armor pen. So people aren't going to be swapping into it. There's actually, I think, a total of only 4 armor pen trinkets in the game. The one that comes from, I think, Forge of Souls is the kind of runestone off grade, we'll call it, because it's very similar to Mjolnir's runestone. But I don't know. I don't think these are going to be popping in anyone's pockets anytime soon, just because 84 isn't just big enough to like swap to it. But
it's from the normal, by the way.
Yeah, so it's probably like 215, 219. I don't know what the normal.
200.
Gotta be above 200.
Normal's 200. I thought.
No, those are different. Those are different. Is it really?
Heroics. Yeah, heroics 219. Normal's
I thought Trial of the Crusader one had higher upgraded tier. Oh, that's stupid.
Nope.
So, either way,
it's lower than Nax.
I wouldn't
an entry to Nax.
I don't even know if I'd wear it at low end, because the thing with armor pen is you need a lot of it for it to be valuable. So if you're like a fresh 80, I mean, it's still a decent trinket. Like I wouldn't turn it down. But like if you're trying to armor pen stack at like fresh 80, it's gonna be a struggle. Needle. Thank you.
You're not gonna have enough armor pen stack at a fresh 80 until phase 5, when there's more armor pen on gear that comes from the 5-bands.
Oh, from Forge of Souls. I forgot what the other one's called. Halls of
Pit of Sauron, Halls of Reflection.
There we go. Halls of Reflection. Good memories. Am I right? Okay. So
a lot of those items that have armor pen, but yeah,
but I don't want to. Okay, so sorry, I don't want to get off topic too much. Okay, so I think the beta or the 5-man changes are actually pretty interesting. I think it caught a lot of us off guard, because we didn't know how they were going to handle all this crap. Like, what are they going to do with heroic? If you're curious, if you're looking for Dreambinder, still got to do that 25-man heroic, or hard mode, I should say now. So don't hope that it's going to pop up on a vendor anytime soon. Okay.
I've already got
it. Oh, and by the way, as far as Dreambinder versus our next phase weapon, the 252 Dreambinders, the best option you can get outside of the heroic weapons.
There's 2 of them. Yeah.
Yep.
One is crit, one is armor pen, I want to say. No, they're both armor
one's
pen.
Crit,
one is
one's
crit.
Haste.
There you go. That's what it is. And I think I was crit capped in it, and the crit one still performed really well. Archine Glaive. Yeah, I honestly, you know what the one you get? You get the one that you get. That's the one you get. Whatever one drops is the one you get, because
the difference between the two is like 20 DPS.
Yeah, just take the one that drops and then be happy, and then get the other one and then be like, look, I have both, and that's it. That's
yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's actually dive into TOGC. You guys, I think all 3 of us got to run at least 25-man. Go, you ran both, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
310 and 225.
What'd you guys think?
10-man was super nice, quick and easy. 25-man had a lot more prog, a lot more difficulty with people learning the mechanics to where it wasn't causing issues. The PvP fight, faction champions, was a lot longer and tougher in 25-man.
And boring. Am I crazy to call that boring?
It was pretty boring.
I remember it being so intense, and I was like, okay, now we kill this dude.
And I was kind of wondering how people were just like dying on that fight.
One shot.
Like I don't think I died like
Because
they focus healers and stuff.
The melee guys kind of focus people, and they have 0 threat table, and if they
Yeah.
get to you, they one shot you.
They kind of like,
But they
gang
tend
up
to
too.
favor ranged and healers, so that's why everybody's supposed to be spread out.
Yeah. So Bearbus, what did you think? You didn't do 10 men either, right?
I didn't do 10 men, but I did 25 with technically a group of people that were from 3 different guilds, all that were pretty high level raiders in close to phase 2 bis.
Spin it
So,
all
like,
you want.
everybody.
That's a pug. You pugged.
Yeah. we pugged hard. Like, it was only me and the GM from my guild, and then there was like 15 other people from another guild and another 8 from another guild. So we kind of pugged it pretty hard, but we 2 shots Beast and Northrend only because we wanted to see how Ice Howl went, and we lost a lot of people on the worms because people couldn't pay attention to mechanics.
Hard.
But Ice Howl, getting to Ice Howl was the easy part, and just it was a cakewalk for me though.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I told you about the Ice Howl thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's why I stopped there, because I knew you were gonna go on to that.
Well, so I just want to touch on ours. So I did a full guild run. 25 guildies, didn't have to pug anybody. We ran through, I think we did wipe on beasts because we were trying a transition into the worms, or whatever you want to call them, jarmongers. And it did not work. So I think we either scrapped it or just tried again. There's a debate on what happens when you kill the first guy. Do the kobolds just fall off anyway?
Oh, that guy?
Yeah. And we were trying to beat the fall off, and someone was like, no, man, if you kill them with 2 left, they just fall off and you have to still kill them. And so like they're like, I don't know. And then we were trying to figure out the timing to see, in case you guys don't know, or at least for our experience, I was able to use Berserk on the first dude and it be back in time for Ice Howl. So if you're trying to like, oh, I want to save that cooldown, yeah, I popped it twice. So obviously as your gear gets better, that may not be the case, and that's something people have to adjust to. But now the Ice Howl thing, which is what I just wanted to explain that. We found out that when Ice Howl knocks everyone back, if everybody just runs right at Ice Howl, full, not even like burst, just the way our raid leader said, everyone press W, hold down W, and you win. And he won't hit you if you run right at him. It just negates the mechanic. This might be a bug. We don't know. Regardless, if people are dying to Ice Howl at this point, once they know this trick, it's a question mark, because you should be forced to like dodge the guy, but you can't. You could just run right through him, and it's fine. So yeah, no, it's not even just B-Res, Conan. What do you call it? Bloodlust. Nothing was resetting, which is a big downer. But yeah, so like Ice Howl, just run at the boss. It's broken. And now we have another phase of PTR coming up, and that might be the difference. So don't go into the PTR and be like, I got this, and charge and then die and be like, Grif.
Hold W.
Yeah. It might get fixed. It might be a bug. It might not. Okay, but sorry, I didn't want to go past that.
We'll read the patch notes beforehand.
So. Yeah, hopefully they'll say like we fixed the bug.
Hopefully there is.
They should do patch notes. If not, then they will just be data mined again.
Did you guys trinket faction champions?
No.
Nope.
I did. Stupidest thing. I was like, I got feared, and I was like, Berserk, I guess I'll just use that. I didn't get CC'd enough for it to matter. Now as a healer, I might think it's more helpful, because if you're like getting beat up and you're trapped in some way, you need to have some button to press. I mean, paladins can bubble themselves away from a lot of situations, but like, I don't know, like priests, well, they can disperse. I guess if you're a druid,
Priests can't disperse unless you are shadow.
Yeah. Oh, Conan, I lost it, but Grif said, oh, okay, never mind. Sorry, but Grif said, yeah. I'm a troll. But yeah, I honestly I wore the trinket and regretted it. If my raid leader says to put it on though, I'll put it on because I'm not gonna be like dead and then be like, why aren't you wearing a trinket? And you're like, I don't think I needed it. What'd you guys think of Twins, which I think is the second hardest fight?
Twins for 10 man, we did the door strat, and then for 25, I don't think we did. Maybe we did the door strat in one raid I was in, and then we didn't in the other raid. Like the pug raid didn't door strat it.
Did you guys get the shadow vector or vortex or whatever that the healers had to heal through?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And how was the healing on it?
Rough.
Easy.
For 25, it was
for 25. We did 25 heroic.
We did 25 heroic, but we had 2 holy pallies with Valnir. So
yeah.
Okay, well, I think that might be a thing. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, let me rewind really quick and explain the door strat because it sounds like Bearbus, you did the door strat too.
Yeah, I did the door strat, but we didn't end up killing it on the door strat. With that many people as a pug, we ended up doing the normal strat, but taking both of the bosses next to one of the portals instead.
That's like the normal strat.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mixture between the original strat that people did back in the day for it and the door strat.
Yeah. So the door strat is kind of its name. Okay, by the way, if you're going to pick a door, do not pick the entrance door because the gate drops and half of our guild got locked out.
Oh my gosh.
Wipe. Instant wipe. No, but so there's a bunch of doors. The left one you won't pull aggro if you go over there. That's the one we went to. So the way the door strat works is everyone clusters into this little narrow place in the door. And the reason you cluster in this little narrow place is because it forces the orbs to only come through a certain way. And then you've got your like, our soakers have an easier time. Soakers. Yeah, our soakers have an easier time, and they're the ones picking up the black spheres so that the boss doesn't get boosted. And then we luckily get the white ones and we pump. Now there's a couple of problems with this. You never switch colors. You stay. So our raid went white, which is I think the strat. So like your raid goes white and then the soakers go black. There's two aspects to this. There's a shield and there's I think it's called a vortex, right? The shield has to be taken down. When the shield is the black shield or the shadow shield, it goes down really quickly because you're all white and you just do crazy damage. However, if it's the white shield, you have to switch to the white guy and you have to burn it, and it takes a little bit of time because it's the matching color and you don't do as much damage to it. Yeah. Those are the shields. That's the whole part of the shield. That's not the problem. That's really just like your DPS paying attention and switching to the target when they need to. The big problem is actually the vortexes. When they do a holy vortex, I think it's holy and shadow. They do a holy vortex
it's
and you're
fire damage though.
Sure. If you're wearing the same color as the vortex, it does almost no damage or no damage to you. However, your soakers are taking damage, so your healers have to not stop, but they have to focus on those soakers because those 4 or 5 people are taking a lot of damage, and you have to heal. Not a crisis. That's also not the biggest concern, though. You do need to make sure they don't die because they're your soakers. The big deal is the shadow vortex, which is absolutely going to crush all of your DPS, and your healers have to pump. Now it only lasts 4 seconds, 6 seconds.
6. I think it was 6.
6 seconds.
So
So this is when you pop your health stone, you hit your bark skin, you hit all your buttons, and as long as you can get past that, it's not likely going to happen twice. It's only going to happen once per fight, and RNG, it won't even happen at all. If you can get past that, this fight is super easy. Like there's nothing, you just stand there and just like hit your dark guy, hit your shadow guy, and then when they say holy shield, you just switch. But you have 4 seconds to react. It's not like it automatically happens, except for the shield. I think the shield happens immediately. But the vortexes, you've got 4 seconds to like pay attention. And a lot of times when they know a shield is coming, they'll have you switch to the opposite color and put your debuffs on so that when it's time to rip that shadow, you already have your debuffs like ready to go. Especially as like a feral, you can get all your combo points ready, and as soon as that shield goes up, rip. And that way you're doing just as much damage as possible on the shield. This isn't a strategy video, but it does make sense for you guys to understand that is a strategy a lot of people are doing. The other strategy is just to switch when the color calls for it. And then you stand out in the middle of the open. They're both fine, but the other one is so healer intensive.
We had all druids trank during that. So we had 2 boomies, a feral, a resto, some other druid, I think.
If you've got 5 tranks, then you might as well.
Yeah. So everybody was tranking. It was nice.
Even if you only have like 3 or 4, that's still like 2 groups that healers really don't have to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And so the tranquility trick was definitely a thing. My raid leader told me not to do it. He said it wasn't worth it. However, we did know that resto druids off tranquility, or even with tranquility, aren't great on that fight because you can only hit so many targets and you need more of an AoE heal like you've got from your priests, which are just your holy priests.
You could do the change person group strat that a lot of druids have been using, is you're using your resto druids tranquility still, but they're swapping in groups as people
to
are
where they
full.
go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that might be a thing. But at this time, especially because we couldn't reset cooldowns, so like we were kind of like, when do you use the cooldown? When you got to worry about it? Like we didn't even use it on twins because we wanted to have it up for noob as soon as we went in there. But yeah, I definitely think twins is a challenge, and I think it's going to be a challenge for a lot of people. With rejuve crit may be valuable where they get it. Yeah. Okay, so did you guys all make it to a noob?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What'd you guys think of a noob?
Okay,
hold on. No.
Oh.
What'd you think of phase 1?
Phase 1 is we had a lot of problems with that because of the tanks.
Positioning problems, I take it?
No.
Or like the globes not dropping, or what? Like, or the block thing disappearing, or
they were wearing their block set, but the problem is that they weren't anticipating on how much damage all 4 of those were going to. So we swapped to 3 tanks, and then we breezed through phase 1.
We 3 tanked it, yeah, same. We did 2 and 2, and then main boss tank.
Yeah.
Did you guys pull to the corner?
Nope.
Okay.
Middle of the room.
Phase 2, which is the runaway. Run away, little girl, run away. How'd you guys think? Easy? Everyone zoned out? Stop remembering to kill the ads?
I think too many people will actually zone out on phase 2 because they think that they're responsible for doing absolutely nothing. And then they'll end up killing themselves because the spikes swap targets
start running through.
And they're right.
Yeah.
They're already dead.
In bad positioning.
But the heroic strategy for that fight, as long as everybody's paying attention, works really well, and you only have to get 1, maybe 2 of those globes hit. If you time everything perfectly, you could probably get away with just getting 1.
Okay, I guess we have to explain the globes really quick because we're doing I don't know if it's a different strategy. So you only get 6 globes on heroic, 25 man. Yep. And a lot of people were like, okay, use 3 per. The problem is nobody needs 2 submerge cycles anymore. Like we're getting to phase 3 on 1 submerge. So we're dropping them a lot. Like we're always having, so that, we can make the submerge just slow down. Yeah, and I think that's a big we have specific run patterns, like where the boss is, this is where you run. And we always have people dropping more globes. That actually hurt us though, because someone dropped one in a bad position, and then right when we came up from the submerge, one of the stupid ads got caught in a slow, and they actually ended up submerging, and it caused like all kinds of just but yeah, the DKs. But then I'll call it phase 3 because I'm not really sure how this is broken up. Phase 3 is 30%.
30% burn.
So 30%, and this is, let me make sure I get this right. I think it's called Carrion Swarm in this one. I'm not sure, or Healing Swarm. I don't know what it's called. You do a ton of damage. The problem is, if the healers heal you, all the healing that you get healed heals the boss too. So if you look at like a fight, if you don't know the mechanics, if you look at the boss's health from 30 to 1, it goes super slow. That's because for all the healing that the healers do, they're also healing the boss, which is why you might freak out because your health is at like 10%, and that's because the healers can't heal you because they're benefiting the bosses, but they still have to heal the tanks. So it's very stressful for the healers that are trying to keep everyone just alive enough that you can pump it. And that is when you absolutely need to pump that boss, and that's where everybody's struggling, because either the healers are letting people die or the healers are over healing and the boss's health isn't moving. And it's such a hard fight for healers that if you are a healer, get ready to pull your hair out, because it is going to be stressful.
I saw that phase isn't supposed to count towards the healer's parse. So if you're a healer and you're thinking, oh man, I need to heal, I need to parse for this fight, I'm pretty sure Warcraft Logs is going to delete phase 2 from the healing. Yeah. Healing should only count for phase 1 or phase 2 if you're counting.
Phase 1 and phase 2 technically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how it's broken, because like, so there's phase 1 and then there's submerged phase.
Submerged phase is phase 2, and then when you're doing the burn, which is when he's doing leeching swarm.
Sure, leeching swarm. Thank you. What's the phase in between submerge and leeching swarm called? Is that phase 1?
Yes, every time he comes back up from
back
submerge,
to phase 1.
Back to phase 1.
I don't like it.
Well, you can skip phase 2.
You can skip phase 2 if you have enough.
Okay.
DPS.
We did in 10.
Okay, but if you skip phase 2, then phase
3 is now phase 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in that case, you have to stop calling them phase numbers. You have to call
submerge is phase 1.5.
So you have to call them DPS phase, submerge phase, and carrion phase, or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I already forgot. Leeching phase. Yeah. Just a note on a noob: you don't want disc priests who people with Valmir. You don't want shields, as you want people to take damage to get people low. With shields, it makes it harder. Yeah. I can imagine, dude, our healers took that very seriously. I was sitting at 5% health for a long time.
I was freaking out, man.
I was like,
myself.
Oh, no, because that's the thing. Because they should be doing it right. Like, if they let you drop and then shield you, I think that's play. I think that's the play. I don't know. I'm not a healer. I don't let them do their thing.
You still take the shield damage. Like, it takes the shield first.
Yeah.
That's the prio for it. So shields are still technically okay to do on that fight, but they don't want to keep you at 100% health, because the more health you have, the more damage it does, because it does 30% on heroic. It does 30% of your total health at that very moment.
Okay, and that makes the most sense. So, and I misspoke. I mean, the logic still makes the same sense for healers to keep you low, but the mechanic is different. Whereas it's 30% of your health.
And 0.
So, this is another thing. People were saying to take off the stamina buff as well in leeching phase.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Stamina, commanding shouts.
Yeah, it does heal the boss.
Warlock, imp pet. I don't know.
Who actually uses an impet?
I don't know.
Hey.
But well, you're right. You're not wrong. You are right.
Let me ask you
what
though.
I'm saying is, like,
are you giving up kings? Are you giving up kings?
No, you don't give up kings.
Yeah.
No shot.
Any pure stamina buff. So commanding shout, stam from priest, and that's it.
Yeah. We did not down a noob heroic 25 man.
We didn't either, but we only put in 2 attempts.
We got
in the guild, in Scotty's guild.
I put in 5 attempts, and I got them down to 15% before we wiped. But that was just getting to the final phase, getting healers used to the amount of healing that they need to do. They want to keep everybody between, like Grif said, 0 and 50%, because anything higher than that, they're going to just take increased damage, which then heals the boss even more. So 50% like you're
above 0. That's the key. Above 0.
5 to 50%. How about that?
Tanks removing HP flasks.
I mean, tanks still get healed pretty much.
So
like
tanks
right?
should always be at 100% life because of how hard he hits. They should always be topped off.
The HP flask is a good question. It's not a game changer.
So most tanks now are not even using HP flasks. The only reason you would use an HP flask is if you're dying by more than 1,000.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying though. Like, but for progression, a lot of tanks will switch to specifically to have a bigger health pool. You know, they'll use that, and I don't know. I think
Tanks
maybe off tanks take it off. I don't know though, because they're still getting
off tanks
hit.
shouldn't need to use it. They shouldn't need to use it. The mobs aren't bosses.
Yeah, I know.
They're
That's what I'm saying though.
right?
But up until that moment, maybe they wear it and they're like, okay, or maybe just for that fight they don't wear it.
If you're doing the 2-2-1 strat, then the off tanks shouldn't need it. They should be using a DPS flask at that point for the extra threat, so that people can just destroy those.
Okay. So we talked about all the bosses. Now, as a general, is the raid? I mean, I ask this every time. Is the raid fun?
10-man, yes. And this is how I felt in phase 2. And then 25-man, I feel is going to be stressful for me. But that's just me.
But fun?
25 is going to be stressful for a noob, I think. But 10-man is just going to be such a breeze.
I think stressful is an interesting word. It sucks that we were okay. When you're fighting a boss and there's a problem, and you as a DPS or even a tank for a lot of, you have no control over this fight. Like, yeah, you can, DPS harder, obviously. But like, it's the healers, and it's gonna get frustrating because you're not a healer in the moment and you can't help anything. Like, you can't like, oh, okay, hold on, let me just. I mean, I'm not going resto.
No.
So like, I think that's going to be frustrating, and I think it's the same problem with the twins too. Especially if they stick with that strategy, you're going to see a lot of people go, you know what? Let's not do this because we can't rely on the healers. And if you're on twins saying we can't rely on healers, a noob's going to be tough because you're relying on your healers
that's
again.
When a lot of guilds will do up to a noob on heroic to try and get that better gear,
then flip
and then
that
they'll
switch
swap to normal.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, I think that's a healthy thing to do. I do think a noob is like it's a higher tier. Yeah. So I think it makes sense that that's how it's gonna go. Is like they're like, okay, you know what? We're not getting it. Let's hit the switch. So do you guys think it's going to be how long until the average guild has it on farm? Say week 1, week 2,
a month.
Like,
4 to 6 weeks.
You could still wipe.
The average guild,
but you're regularly downing everything.
4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. I'll even go a little
average.
further. I'll go a little further. I'll say like, and broaden it a little bit. 5 to 8, like 6 to 8 if I had to do a 2-week for the most guild, like for hard mode. Like,
I agree with Conan. I agree. It's probably gonna take 6 to 8 for average guild, 6 to 8 weeks to get out on farm. I do think because of the slow tier, like the tier is coming out slow. Like there's no, like, compared to Ulduar where tier was like the first thing that you're like pass. You know what I mean? Because like it's just not every piece, but you know what I mean. And now everyone's fighting for it, and there's just not enough. And on top of that, the raid is so short that
zero trash.
It's just well,
is
there
I don't
zero
think it's
trash?
That short.
There's I mean, you could count the cobalt or the snowballs. You could maybe
but
count.
It still technically is a boss mob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's short once it's on farm, a lot faster than Ulduar, but it's still going to take a couple hours per week for most guilds. Like that whole farm phase, it's gonna take 3 hours for the 6 weeks for people to get full hard modes down. I think in that.
Yeah,
I feel bad.
I would agree.
I feel bad for raid leaders because well, hear me out. Like, you know how many raid leaders are gonna have to make that choice of when to flip that switch, and people are gonna be mad. Like, come on, we only gave it 2 shots. Let's try it again. And the raiders are gonna be like, no, we don't have the DPS today, and that's gonna create so much. And then, or when to flip it back. Like, okay, we've downed him clearly. Do we want to unflip this switch? I think raid leaders are going to literally hate this raid.
It's going to depend,
especially in your average guild.
Loot from that hard mode or not?
Yeah.
If the raid lead doesn't need loot, they're like,
raid lead's going to want to go
you need a noob.
the hard mode, honestly.
But yeah, I just don't like.
You're going to go for every hard mode, but when do you unflip the switch? How many wipes? Is there a number? Is there yeah, we're not
when
hitting
you're
25?
When you're down to 1,
Yeah.
that's when you
When you're down to 1?
when you're down to 1, you make the switch, because if you go to 0, you're done. It's game over.
Yeah, because how many tiers of that are there's 3, right? There's 50, 49, and then 45.
Find it. 45 to 49.
45 to 49. The 50 is the cloaks and the mounts.
And there's a 20. I think it's a 20 or 25 or something like that too.
25 to
44.
4, yeah.
But
something like
21 to 24 is 2 pieces a tier.
Do you see that? But see how that creates that problem for the raid leader when you're like 2 or even 1 away, and you're like not even from the bottom, but from like the next tier.
I guess
away from doing it, and you've been wiping just on a noob for 49 attempts.
Or what if you've wiped 10 attempts and you're like, let's just get it done? Like, do you sit there and go, okay, let me check the math? You know what I mean? Like,
you have to check. I think you do have to check the math, honestly, because if you don't check everything off and say you don't have the DPS for that DPS check, then you just go normal. Because normal is going to be substantially easier.
I just want to say this: if you're a raid leader, sorry, but also don't get mad at your raid leader. Like anyone who's listening, your raid leader is going to have a really hard time making those decisions, especially if you're in an average guild and you're struggling. Remember that your raid leader is just a person having to make a decision for all 25 or 10 of you, depending on what you're running. So just be patient. Understand that it's a stressful situation and there's a lot going into it. It's not just like, oh, we wiped 4 times. It's like, oh, well, if we don't down it here, we lose the opportunity for something and we need to go for. Because you imagine though, like you do that and then you wipe on a noob. And you're like, well, there goes that. And you're like, mother. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely think Trial of Crusader has a lot going against it. I think there's going to be a lot of like negative things to say. I mean, I'm sure you will, Zach. I'm sure everyone's going to be yelling at the raid leader. I'm saying before you do that, remember, they're having a bad day probably because they're raid leading.
Yep.
So
yep.
I don't envy raid leaders at all. But yeah, so TOGC, you got the beta. How do you guys feel about the phase? Did Blizzard do a good job in your mind of what phase 3 is going to be? Like, I know we don't know yet, but like, do you guys think, okay, I'm optimistic about this. This could be really good.
I mean, we're still going to be going to Old War. We're still going to progress through the new raid, TOGC, whatever. We've got Onyxia. We've got Titan.
We didn't even talk about Onyxia.
We've got Titan Rune.
It's
dungeons.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, we've got Titan Rune beta. And then we've also got like a new VOA boss. So like there's a lot of raid. Like we'll be doing VOA again, I think more for emblems.
I actually forgot about VOA boss.
We kind of, Old War, we didn't really do VOA. Phase 1 and Nax, we were doing VOA after Nax. Phase 2, Old War, we never really went back to VOA, but I think
Old War was hard.
We'll go back now.
You did VOA for like 2 weeks. But the reason to do VOA for phase 3 though is because you can still get 2 pieces from the boss, which most people want at least one of those 2 pieces.
Oh, and I want to look it up. Did you guys? I don't even know what 2 pieces of this.
Did you guys?
It's legs and gloves, same as it always has been.
Did you guys do the Did you guys do the 5-man?
Not on the PTR.
No,
I didn't hop on.
I did it.
I think it was up for like 1 day, right, or like a couple hours.
I don't know. We got in and we did it.
It was up for a couple hours. It was a couple hours.
It was weird.
It was weird.
So I've done it before. I think the affix is weird. So the affix is the fans, the cheering crowd, they throw stuff in, and some of it's good, some of it's bad. Very
Mario Kart.
Actually, Mario Kart is a good example, but also more like the Hunger Games, where like some of the stuff's good and some of the stuff's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's like mini berserks, there's mini heals, there's bananas that you stop and get stunned over. It's so stupid. But at the same time, like, I've never been so aggressive towards another guildie or another 5-man player for stealing my berserk. Like, bro, I was a foot away, clearly waiting for
That's
it.
my 5% damage.
The bosses are still just as easy, and it just makes it more fun as opposed to it being more challenging. Maybe they're gonna tweak it to make it a little bit harder. There's like these red beams. I don't know what they do. I never stepped in one. Yeah, the jousting. The jousting was. Here's something I didn't know. When you're Alliance and you joust, the guys stand in a different spot than when you're Horde. Because like I've always played Horde, and so I'm standing off to the left, and like they're all like guys are coming in and they're all surrounding me. I'm like, why are they over here? And I legit did not know that like when you're Alliance, they're over here, and when you're Horde, they're over there.
They go to a different side per side.
Which, if you think about it, makes sense. But like, if you've only ever played one class,
it happened for faction champions too. Because I went in there the first time as Alliance, and the Horde thing spawned on the left, so Alliance has to stand on the right before the pool, and then it's flipped for Horde. I went in as Horde, I stood off to the right thinking it was going to spawn on the left, same side, but no, like everything spawned right behind me, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Oh, did you guys do, sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. For faction champions, did you guys do the Death Knight chain thing?
Oh, like double pull?
For the enhancement shaman?
Yeah, we double pulled.
Oh, that's so fun. He's dead in like 2 seconds. You're like, no totems now, bitch.
It's like, suck it.
We just had like a priest just spamming Mass Dispel on him the whole time too. He had no chance. That's like when you run PvP and you gang up on that one guy, except the rest of his team. The rest of his team sucks. Yep. And they're just like standing over there. We're like, kill him quick. But yeah, it was fun. Really good strat. But yeah, so yeah, PTR. You guys didn't say. Are you excited about phase 3?
I kind of am. I'm not being a Debbie Downer about it. Like,
I'm ready for new content.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Granted, it's stuff that we've done before, but it's definitely going to be a change up from Ulduar.
I think okay. This is like I'm positive this is my negative. Twins feels like a fresh take. The worst part, though, is the min-maxers have found a way to remove that fresh take and just make it a DPS pump fight again. And that sucks. Because like a noob feels like a fight I've done before. And obviously we've done these before, but like it feels like, it's a fight. You know, like it's, oh yeah, ground mechanic. We've seen these before, blah, blah, blah. You run away. Like you've ran away from bosses before. Twins with the clicking of the colors. I still remember the first time I experienced it. And like I blown away, like, oh, because we didn't have like the clean strats early on. Like everyone was just spread out grabbing orbs that they thought were good, and that's a really cool fight. But like now that everyone just stacks, it kind of like diminishes that, which is too bad. But at the same time, like it still is a cool fight, you know. And especially even if you do it the way Barabas did it, where you kind of do it, at least you get to click stuff, and it's like mid fight, go change colors, you know. I
think it's gonna take a lot of guilds progressing that fight for sure to get to the noob.
100%. I think a lot of people are gonna struggle on twins. Especially, I don't think the door strat is for the average guild. I think the door strat.
I think a lot of casual guilds won't do the door strat because it is a zug fight.
It's without the door strat, it's not that bad though. Like if everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be it's just like when he does the vortex and it's black, just go click on the black. And then go back when the vortex is over.
It's a lot more personal responsibility when you're not doing the door strat.
Let me emphasize the difference here between 10 and 25. 10, the door strat is pretty easy. 25 is where it's difficult. Like everything on 10, like let me try to like compare it to
every strategy you can do in 25 man makes 10 men that much easier.
Yeah, exactly. Like in Old War, we would test a strategy in 10 men, we would get it down in 10 men, and then we would implement it into 25. And that might kind of be the same thing, but even still, like 25 seemed a lot harder and more punishing than the 10 man was. 10 man was an absolute breeze.
You just hit on what I was actually going to ask next. We just did the round 1 of PTR, and then obviously on May 19th, we have round 2. Which I won't be here for, sorry. Do you think from now until then they could buff the bosses or modify the bosses in some significant way that makes you even just the 10-man to make it go, or do you think it's tuned where it needs to be?
I think they need to buff HP.
People say even for a noob that people are struggling.
Yes.
I'd be like, yeah.
Yes. I think they need to buff HP.
No, you're gonna get so tired of the submerge phase, and the more HP the boss has, the more submerge phases you're gonna have to deal with.
Right.
It's gonna get
But
Completely
annoying.
changes the fight, though.
There are other, like, a bunch of the other guilds that are more on the hardcore side that want the buff, and if you have the HP buff, it allows you to learn mechanics of the fight instead of just ignoring them. As we get more and more gear throughout this phase, everybody's going to be doing like another 20% more DPS, so the HP buff is going to be really nice.
The gear isn't worth buffed bosses. That is a problem. And we didn't touch on because of the buff. And I actually mentioned this a while ago. I don't know if you guys remember. And Bearbus, I'm pretty sure I've said this to you too. Yep. Everyone was like, "Oh, they're giving all these eye level buffs for Ulduar. How's it going to change it?" And my biggest concern was they're giving all these eye levels for Ulduar. How is it going to affect TOGC when we're going in there with an even higher item level than we ever would have imagined in the past, and making that gear almost useless, and not all together useless, but like 90% of it is.
TOGC was a catch-up raid.
Yeah, but we're not treating it like one now.
It still is, though.
Yeah, but
if you do normal TOGC 25-man, you never really have to go into Ulduar.
I mean, I would for the trinkets.
Other than Valnir, yeah.
Yeah, and Valnir,
your healers would hate you.
I still want the weapon.
You go to Ulduar to pick up, the Valnirs, obviously.
Yeah, trinket. There's a lot of. I mean, there's the ring.
What,
I take the ring.
What trinket?
The mount.
The runestone.
Why runestone? Runestone comes from 10-man when you can buy it now.
Oh, you're saying 25 only. You said Ulduar in general.
You're not gonna want to go
Dreambinder.
to Ulduar. You can get Twins Pact.
You said 25 normal. Twins Pact isn't that great.
And the normal one, it's close enough to not warrant stressing yourself out unless they nerf Ulduar.
They're not going to. Well,
if they nerf Ulduar,
no, that's rude. Do you guys think they're going to nerf Ulduar?
If they nerf Ulduar, then there's no reason to do 25-man TOGC normal.
Do you guys think they're going to nerf Ulduar, though?
Yes.
There are no
still guilds. There are still guilds that haven't cleared everything yet.
A lot of guilds, but I wonder, are they going to wait a couple weeks, see if they can clear it after they've gotten a couple
pieces from TOGC?
I don't think so. I think they'll just turn it on and forget about it.
So the closest thing we have to an insider from Blizzard is Sarth, and Sarth said, "I don't think they're going to nerf it." And as much as it sucks to think Sarth might be the voice of Blizzard, I think he's the closest thing we've got right now. And because I don't think Blizzard's shown any sign of saying they're going to nerf it, I'm not saying they're
Saturday.
That's fair. I don't think they're
see what a Gren says.
Maybe they never nerf it, but I definitely don't think they're going to nerf it at the end of the PTR.
There's supposed to be some big news for Classic.
Hopefully
Saturday.
Oh yeah, but
we'll see Saturday.
You guys don't know what that is?
This is according to Sarth too. So
come on, everyone knows what that is.
Hopefully it's more than just a Grin saying, "Hey, there's going to be hardcore servers. They're launching next week. Thanks for having me on."
That is
it's supposed to be
100% what it is.
Big.
It better be more than that.
Okay, hold on. Let's explain to everybody, because maybe everyone doesn't follow as addictively as we do. On May 13th, is that right? May 13th?
Saturday.
No,
yes.
Saturday. This coming Saturday. After the hardcore tournament that's going on, that is sponsored by Blizzard, Sarth on his channel is going to make a huge announcement after the hardcore tournament sponsored by Blizzard. Now, people are speculating on what that announcement that comes after the hardcore tournament that's sponsored by Blizzard, but most of us think it's just they're announcing hardcore.
He said it was a classic announcement.
Classic is hardcore.
Didn't really specify if it was going to be like vanilla classic or wrath classic. So we'll see Saturday.
They're retroactively going to post the Wrath of the Lich King timeline. Here's what's going on in phase 2, guys.
Yeah.
Finally. No, I definitely think it's gonna be hardcore. Obviously, we're guessing. Someone told me it's actually hardcore for both classic and retail. So
Yeah. What if he does quit? That's his like resignation. He's like, yo, thanks for allowing me to be involved in the community for these last couple of years of Wrath Classic and Classic TBC.
No way, dude. He's not walking away from that paycheck.
He stopped kind of doing a little bit of videos for just wow.
He said that he makes a lot of his money from TikTok and stuff like that. So yeah, I first of all, I like Sarth. I know people like to trash on him. I think he's funny. I think he's a nice guy, and I like his videos. And yes, I know he's kind of a meme because every time he makes a video, it gets fixed or bugs get patched or whatever like that. I think it's hilarious. But I think Sarth's a nice guy. But yeah, hiring a third intern. But I think it's just going to be hardcore for probably classic, maybe both. I don't think we're going to, I mean, it would be great if they gave us a timeline, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It's got to be something more than just hardcore, man.
Does it? Why?
It's gotta be, dude. Because they,
with how big and pumping he's been doing,
maybe
for
Psalm,
it, like,
maybe Psalm.
It could be Psalm too. I'd be happy with Psalm. If it's just hardcore, I'm gonna be disappointed.
A Diablo WoW crossover. Isn't it in the beta
Diablo
tomorrow? Is the beta tomorrow?
Beta starts tomorrow for the server slam. Yes.
Yeah. Stuff hardcore give more. Honestly, a lot of people really love hardcore, and if they made a hardcore server, would you guys go? Would you guys do it?
It depends on how crowded it is. It'd have to be more than one server. Like let it be like three.
It would have
servers,
to be like a PvE,
servers.
RP, PvP, and a PvP server.
I'll go on the lower pop server because I don't want to have to deal with mob tags and all that
yeah,
stuff.
and if you guys have never done hardcore, it's honestly the worst part. It's the best part, but also the worst part. The best part is like there's a great community. There's tons of people, but there's a ton of people. So you're in a cave for like 3 hours because you don't want to die, and you can't get this stupid tag because some mage comes along and is like, fire blast. You're like, no. But yeah. That's their announcement. They finally fixed the lag problem.
You guys have lag problems in Dalaran? I don't have a lag problem in Dalaran.
Tuesday nights,
yeah,
kind of like reset nights. Usually it's kind of a little buggy, a little slow.
I don't have that problem.
Well, join one. I mean, I'm in a small server too.
Google Fiber, and I just got a new PC. So.
It has nothing to do with us. It's
server lag.
It is a server lag. They don't layer. I don't think in Dalaran. If they do, they're doing a bad job.
Tuesday the layers get turned off.
Maybe that's what it is.
When they do the server resets, the layers get turned off.
Okay, guys, their cat is coming. I don't know. Can we stop pretending it's not coming? Can we stop dancing around it? We might as well just say Cata confirmed.
I'll play on Wrath era servers.
I'm changing the title of this video to hashtag Cata confirmed right now.
Oh my gosh.
The amount of hate I'll get will be amazing.
So you're only 250 subs away from 5,000 now.
Yeah. Weren't you above 4K? What happened? Well, funny story. I was doing this podcast and I thought it'd be hilarious. No, where am I at? Actually, I want to look. Did I get any subs today? Sorry if this is my keyboard stopped working.
You better have gotten at least 10.
I got a few. I can say that much.
But yeah. Oh, and guys, because we are kind of wrapping up. This isn't the wrap up, but I just want to say, if you guys don't know, Bearbus is not new to YouTube, but he's starting to like build a YouTube community. Go ahead and like and subscribe to him, like this video so that I get liked. But yeah, hit Bearbus is up. I'm gonna post it really quick in chat so you can hit him up. Hopefully this link actually goes to him. That'd be funny if I've been sending it and it doesn't. It does. Okay, I feel better. It does.
I tried to do youtube.com @Bearbus. I didn't know you had to do like / and @ It didn't make sense to me when I was trying to like type just the URL.
As a software developer, it makes sense to me.
I was like / and @ come on. That's an extra character. We don't
Conan.
need that character.
Honestly, I've thought about that too. Like, it's not even about if Cat is good. Is it like Classic got me through the pandemic? Is it time to hang up the Spurs? You know? Yeah. I think I think it's going through a lot of people's mind right now, and that's the reality. Is like how many days a week are you playing WoW right now? Because I'm playing 3 or 4 now.
Every day, bro. I'm on every day.
I'm not. I can't.
I'm still every day, dude.
I have an active life. I am like jamming stuff in. Saturday I played 7 hours of volleyball. Dead. It was great. Oh, I was on a podcast, by the way. I should shout it out. I think
I saw that podcast.
Mash those buttons. Mash the button. Mash those buttons.
Mash those
buttons.
Warcraft
if you guys
Reloaded.
Know, Warcraft Reloaded. Blazing Bob and Mel. I hopped on.
AKA
We talked
Marina.
about the PTR and all kinds of good stuff. Honestly, after the podcast was some of the most interesting stuff. Like after we cut it, all 4 of us stayed on and chatted for a bit. Aladar was on there. And we actually talked about some really interesting stuff. Man, Aladar has been places. Like the pictures he was posting, like not inappropriate, guys. I meant like he's met like all the devs of WoW and stuff like that, and because they go to all the BlizzCons, which Go and I were both talking about. Like, oh, that might be the other announcement, by the way. Someone said, Blizz announcement might happen too.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
BlizzCon I can see too, because they actually need to announce that.
Who do you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Twitch is already announced in TwitchCon.
If there is anybody on YouTube you'd want to meet from, like, for let's say you go to BlizzCon, who is somebody from YouTube, like, or even just like streaming in general? Is there anybody that you'd want to meet at BlizzCon?
Scotty.
I was gonna say Scotty.
Okay, wait.
Scotty's just a fun guy.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Do you think Scotty's going to BlizzCon?
Yeah.
Because if he is, I'm getting a room next to his.
Yeah.
For sure. Scotty
I'm gonna message him after this and be like,
Scotty's is definitely on my list.
You got to come to BlizzCon.
I honestly didn't think about Scotty until you said him though, but he's definitely up there. I really want to meet oh my god, the Rep Paladin. I was talking about him too.
Total FW?
No.
Oh no, that's a prop pally.
No,
He's a prop pally.
Oh my god.
S-Fan.
What's that?
S-Fan?
S-Fan. Yeah, S-Fan. The guy, he looks like someone I don't necessarily need to meet him. I just want to like watch him interact with people, because he's got one of those like weird personalities that I would be like, oh yeah, look at this is cool. I don't know, I find that kind of stuff interesting. Is there any developers you want to meet?
There's developers for Blizz.
Brian Birmingham would have been nice to meet.
Yeah, that's too bad that he's
like,
leaving or left leaving.
The one that I think it was Blazing Bob that interviewed. Was it
Bob's
Bob
going?
or...
Blazing Bob's going, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'd love to meet up.
They were giving, if you guys check out the Warcraft Reloaded podcast, they were giving tips on the best hotels to stay in and why.
Oh.
It was actually pretty interesting because they're like, you want to stay in the cheaper hotel, like that's your mindset, like you go to the cheaper hotel, but if you stay at the one hotel, I think it was the Marriott, he's like, you can store all your drinks at your hotel and walk straight down and they'll let you in with your own drinks, and he's like, you save a ton of money, and I was like, oh. But yeah, maybe
Blazing Bob,
dude. That I think the pie. So I got to tell you guys, I missed our first raid run of PTR. I was supposed to go on Friday, and Bob was like, hey, can you do Warcraft Reloaded like on Wednesday? And I was supposed to go to a volleyball tournament, and I was going to leave Friday night. And I ended up saying like, oh, the PTR, I'll stay Friday and leave Saturday morning. And I was like, yeah, Bob's is at like 5, I think. So 5 to 7, I'll be done by 8. It's not. It's at 7 o'clock my time. And raid started at 8. And he's like, yeah, 2 hours. It went almost 3 hours. And I was like, oh my God. I missed it. And if you guys didn't figure out, my raid leader was not happy with me. I might have lost my progression spot. So, but it's okay.
But Chris Zierhut, I think his name is.
Oh yeah,
That's. I think it'd be cool to just like shake his hand. I don't know if I would like talk to him, because I don't really know like what all he does, but I know he was on the original Wrath team, and he's back for Classic Wrath.
Are there a lot of people that dress up for BlizzCon?
Oh, like cosplay?
Yeah,
there's quite a few.
Wait, Barris, have you been, or have you just watched online?
I've watched it. I've never actually been to.
Yeah,
Are you gonna
gone.
Bearbus? Are you gonna go if they have it?
Depends. I'm supposed to be doing a lot this summer and fall, so
Same.
probably
Well, it's
not.
it's like November, right? Hey, Ernest, what's up? Good seeing you, man.
probably.
That's still fall though.
November's
We'll
like
see.
winter.
We'll see. We'll see what I'm actually doing if my work schedule calms down a lot and I pick up a lot more on my YouTubes. Then I'll probably end up going.
Regardless of what happens with Kata or whatever, I think I'm gonna go just to go. Like I've never been to anything like that. I think it'd be really cool. That might be the time I finally meet Go because
No, we're meeting before then.
Okay.
We're gonna meet next month. We're going on a hike next month. You don't
For
know
sure.
yet, but we're going.
Yeah, I'm ready. I
In
might.
June.
I was gonna go
Streaming
hiking this
that,
weekend.
right?
Yeah.
We'll stream with what's that? What's the Elon Musk Wi-Fi?
Oh, Starlink.
Skynet?
I have Starlink.
Starlink? Yeah,
I
we'll
have it.
stream with your Starlink.
Yeah.
Wait,
in the
Skynet?
woods.
Did you just say Skynet? What is this?
Skynet.
If you've used it, it feels like
What's this?
Skynet because it'll just like
Yeah, true.
and you're like
Yeah, I'll show up to BlizzCon and
This is Terminator 2.0, isn't this?
if I can
This
get
is like
my
Terminator in real life.
so if I used to van life. I think Go knows that. I don't know if you guys know. So I used to van life, but my van got rear-ended, so I scrapped it. And I've actually been thinking about getting a new one. If I get it, I'll move my Starlink into my van, and yeah, I'll come pick you up, and we'll like reenact the last scene or one of the last scenes from the book Ready Player One, where you find out I'm actually a black woman.
Okay.
Spoilers if you haven't read the book.
Yeah, whoa. I was gonna read it, but can't now.
Yo, H. What up?
You just
Z.
cost what's that? Barnes and Noble. You cost them like $49.99 for the paperback.
I'm really sorry about that. By the
I don't even think the paperback's that expensive anymore.
I was gonna say it's like $15.
I don't know what books cost. I threw a number. I'm sorry.
It's like a 10-year-old book.
Books
I think
cost
they're
are
pretty
like
cheap.
$20 to $30 for paperback, and then they're like 40 to 50 for hard.
I haven't been in a bookstore in so long, and I read. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Any new projects coming up? Anything cool going on?
Yeah, be looking out at my channel for lots of new videos coming out in the next couple weeks.
Mainly feral stuff, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say Mary Farrell,
Yeah,
right?
it'll be purely feral stuff.
Cool.
I'll be going over a lot of different things, like how I look at Warcraft logs, like our next phase BIS list that will also encumber like what to prioritize. So that one's probably going to be like a 20-30 minute video though.
Cool. Yeah. And drop it in my Discord if you want. So other, obviously, like, if you guys don't know, I have a Discord. It's a huge feral community. If you guys ever want to hop in and ask questions, just let me know, and Bearbus will answer it for me.
Yeah, usually how it happens.
Go. Do you got anything going on? You got a hike coming up or anything like that? Or do you want to talk about your thing you did? The hike with the thing?
I'm glad you asked, Grif. Thank you for bringing this up. I did this thing couple months ago, and it's called like a hike for a like. So I live stream on YouTube. Depending on how many likes I get for the live stream during the 3-6 hours that I stream, whatever it is, depends on how many miles I'm gonna hike the next time I go on a hike. So I did that again on Monday. I was like, yo, like hike for like, and I had like the little exclamation point. You could see like what it's all about. And I got 12 likes during the stream, and then I was like, that's not enough. I need to hike further. So I included the likes from the video I had put out Sunday night, I think. So it ended up being like 25 likes, and that meant that I had to hike an extra 5 miles because it was 5 likes per mile. And I was doing a 10-mile base. So 15 miles I hiked yesterday, and it ended up being almost 16. But during that hike at the state park that I go to, there was tornado debris. And I saw that last week when I went on a hike. So I was like, yo, like during this 15 miles, I'm going to be picking up debris and throwing it away. So I brought my backpack. I emptied it out because I usually carry stuff in it to have like weight in it and pretend like I'm actually doing a trail out in the wilderness, even though it's like in the middle of a city. So I had my empty backpack. I went in, I filled it up with trash, took it to the dumpster a couple miles away on the other side of the park, made 2 trips, and I probably carried out 60, 70 pounds worth of trash. And
Nice.
it felt great. I saw all these little animals. I was like, yo, I'm helping you guys out. Thanks for like appreciating me and coming out showing your little faces. I saw snakes, I saw turtles, I saw salamanders, lizards, birds, you name it, crabs. I was in heaven. So it was my IRL druid stuff that I like to do, and I like to talk about it.
IRL druid.
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying. Like, how was your IRL druid experience yesterday? And I was like, yo, it was great.
You should memorize some Tauren like phrases they say, like with the earth, mother, and then just say it as you walk around, creeping people out. That's what I would do.
Yeah. So Saturday, I'm gonna go out, hike again, do a little bit more cleanup, and yeah, I don't know if it'll be 15 miles. My feet are kind of broken right now, but they'll probably heal up by Saturday, and I'll go out there and do my thing.
I got new trail runners today. I'm kind of excited about breaking them in. I walked them around to make sure they didn't hurt my feet. I don't know if you use hiking shoes or trail runners, but I'm a big fan.
Runners.
Yeah, they're so light. It's great. But yeah, cool, man. I think it's awesome. I think it's great that you're extending the Druid world beyond World of Warcraft. I
wore my Moonkin shirt too, so if anybody was
really?
hiking, they would know that I was a gamer, you know.
Did you squawk at them or anything, or do like an Owlkin frenzy when people get close to you?
No, but I always do the thing. There's like a little TikTok like meme, like white people hiking, and it's just the guy, and he's like, "Hi." Every time he like walks by somebody, and he's like out of breath, he's like, "Hi." That's always me. Like I pass everybody, I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" And if they don't say anything, I'll take 2 or 3 more steps and be like, "Yeah, fuck you."
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, yeah, have a great day, asshole.
Well, anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up. So if you have anything else, this is the last chance. Say whatever you want. Admit to something you didn't want to admit to. No? Okay. So guys, to the audience,
me there.
to the audience, thank you for watching the Grif and Go podcast. Next week, it's going to be over on Go's channel, so you can check it out. Again, you can find Bearabyss at youtube.com/@Bearabyss. Hop on if you like feral content. He's going to be putting out some new feral content in the near future. Hop on my Discord. Check out us on Twitch. We've got all kinds of Twitch stuff. It's on the screen. Yeah, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. And as always, take care.
Take care.